Hi everyone, Toby here, and thank you very much for joining me in one of my favourite training areas up here in the far north of Sweden. The place we're in now is actually the gateway to one of the wildest areas in Europe and offers us some fantastic training opportunities in terms of wilderness survival. Now I just want to talk a little bit about this DVD before we get started to explain what we're trying to achieve here. As Avi Sensi said in his introduction, we believe that survival training, or wilderness survival training, is really important for martial artists, and we'll go into a little bit of detail about why we feel that way. What we're not going to do in this DVD is cover a lot of techniques and skills, because quite simply these are things that you really need to learn practically in the field, ideally under guidance of a coach or a mentor. However, we will touch on some things just to give you a glimpse of the sort of skills that we actually do. So what I want to do first of all is just give you some of the reasons why applied survival training is going to be of benefit to the average martial artist and even instructors. And one of the first things I'm going to start with is quite surprising to some people, but just listen and see if you agree with me. Quite simply, being in an area like this or spending time out in the nature is very, very healthy and very, very enjoyable. And that should be the start point for your training. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to keep coming back to it. So whilst it's a very serious subject, and as we progress it definitely becomes quite arduous and challenging, in the beginning we just want people to actually reconnect with the nature and enjoy the time out in the woods. Now why is that? Well, I mentioned that it's very, very healthy, and it's true. The fast pace of modern life adds a lot of stress to us, and I've written articles previously, I'll reiterate here. I find it fascinating for a lot of martial artists who are focused on the big picture of conflict resolution or self-defense. Think about knife disarms, gun disarms, multiple opponent threats, and they'll spend a lot of time and energy in their training focus on that, but actually leave the smaller but more immediate conflict problems behind. In fact, sometimes we use training as a little bit of escapism. So you might have some issues at home with the children or with a spouse or work-related conflicts that you ignore for the sake of the bigger picture. So actually spending some time out in nature, relaxing, de-stressing, hopefully gives us time to just actually think and address those problems, and when we return from the woods, maybe actually take on that conflict and resolve it successfully. So overall, it's healthy. Enjoyable? Well, time in nature absolutely should be enjoyable. This is our natural state. At the end of the day, we're all mammals and we're intrinsically connected to the nature. But technology and modern life has really ripped that connection away from us, and it's a terrible shame to see. So whilst initially people may feel a little bit of fear or nerves going back into the nature, very quickly we get back into that relaxed, harmonic state that we find ourselves much more at ease and enjoying ourselves. So that's just first reason as to why we should consider the wilderness survival training.